Coming up on the Sunday edition of FFX, yep, we're back with extended highlights from Friday nights. Capping off a full day of NFL action with local kids stunting on the gridiron. It's week 3 of the high school football season, and while some teams found themselves in the win column for the first time this year, others found themselves in unfamiliar territory. The Central Grizzlies showed they're not your average Bears, holding Liberty scoreless and stunning the Patriots at home. Money Moya made it rain for Ridgeview in his first full game of the season, lifting the Wolfpack to its first win. The South High football team puts on a show for homecoming, and a rivalry is restored when Tehachapi makes the trip to Rams country only to get rocked by Garces. Plus, if there was a fantasy league for high school football, we know who we draft to our squads, and we're leaving it up to you, the viewers, to decide who comes away with our first Player of the Week honors. It's time for our version of Sunday Funday. This is FFX.
From the 17 News Studio, this is the Sunday edition of FFX with 17 Sports Director Lena Washington and Tabitha Mills. FFX.
Welcome to the Sunday edition of FFX. I'm Lena Washington, she is Tabitha Mills, and every Sunday at 9:30 we're bringing you expanded highlights from Friday's high school football games, and we'll ask you for your help in picking our Player of the Week and much more right here on TV 17.
And tonight we will also be picking our high school fantasy football teams, and after the third week of gridiron action, players are showing that they and their teams are the real deal.
Yes, and one of the teams that has proven it's been the real deal for the last 6 seasons or so, Ridgeview. The Wolfpack got off to a slow 0-2 start this season, and a number of key players being suspended in those first 2 games, a big cause in that. But in week 3, we saw Ridgeview in full effect with senior offensive standout Jamar Moya back in action against a Frontier team looking to prove its speed and talent is a force to be reckoned with. The Titans coming into this one 1-1, Ridgeview taking on its 3rd Southwest Yosemite League opponent, picking it up in the second half. Ridgeview with the 20-6 lead, and Wolfpack with the ball, Jamar Moya with the quarterback keeper, and the Pack takes the 26-6 lead. Still in the third quarter, we see more from Jamar Moya. This time he will air it out, dropping back, and he passes deep. And in the end zone, we've got our Jalen Prevost there, making the grab, coming down with the catch. Ridgeview leads the Titans 33-6. Now Frontier gets on the board again in the fourth quarter. Tanner Brancato passes to Alonzo Davis, who reaches over the end zone, and that's a touchdown. But Ridgeview back in full force, getting its first win of the season, 41-20 over Frontier. The Wolfpack is off next week, and Frontier travels up to Central. And the Titans know what lies ahead next week because Central was at Liberty on Friday and it got ugly fast for the Patriots. It's 24-0 Central in the third quarter. The snap to Bryson Falconer is high and fumbled and recovered by Samuel Steele of Central. And the Grizzlies drive. Matthew Mendoza runs it in for the touchdown. The extra point is good, so Liberty finds itself now in a 31-0 hole heading into the fourth quarter, and it didn't get much better from there. Liberty gets stunned with a 38-0 loss at home. The Patriots host Buchanan next week. Now, it's the beginning of a new era at West High School. Although Derek Dunham has worked at his alma mater's football program for nearly 20 years, he's got a crop of young players still looking to mold into studs. Now, after a 30-point loss to Porterville last week, the Vikings face another challenge in Delano on Friday night. West taking on the Chavez Titans, and look at this guy's dance moves. I love it. And he's part of the band. Brownie points. Just a few snaps in, Chavez's quarterback Dion Perkins hands it off to Clemente Montez, and he takes it all the way into the end zone. It's 6-0 Titans. We're going to be saying those names a lot this season. Perkins, Montez, we just did it again. The duo strikes again with 3:30 left in the first quarter. Perkins and Montez put the Titans up 13-0. And how about Alexis? She's having a nice birthday weekend, and like the candles on Alexis's birthday cake, the Chavez offense was lit on Friday. Perkins and Montez again, this time a deep pass for the touchdown. It was 42-0 Chavez in the first half. Chavez dominates West 49-0 the final. The Titans have a bye, and West hosts Foothill next week. All right, coming up after the break, South Sequoia League teams hit the road, and they come out victorious.
Plus, the South High Rebels put on a show for homecoming. Don't go anywhere. More FFX is coming up next.
They're naturals. Welcome back. Carrie Mills had the daunting task of carrying the torch for the late John Wren at South High School in 2013, but the Rebels have risen to the challenge every year, running the table in the Southeast Yosemite League. Meanwhile, Arvin, coming off a heartbreaking 1-point loss to Foothill last week, was looking to get in the win column for the first time on Friday night as well. But it was homecoming at South, so congratulations to the king and queen, the Rebels. Feeling themselves a little bit on Friday night, and why not? The highlights were pretty good. Second play of South's first drive, Aries Harris dishes to Ciante Bell. A little shake and bake, Ricky Bobby throwing a couple tackles and running 98 yards all the way to the house. This was our play of the week on Friday night, and that's 7 up on the board. 6 plus a kick is 7. So still in the first, Aries Harris looking for the pass, nothing there, so he calls his own number and runs it in. Rebels lead 14-0 just like that. Then in the second, Aries Harris with the 20-yard pass to Levi Chavez to tack on 6 more, plus a kick. Do the math, 20-0 Rebels, and the Rebels roll on homecoming. 41-7 the final. South will be at Independence, and Arvin will be at Miramonte next week. And North hosting Wasco on Friday night, and with 9:11 on the clock in the first quarter, a timeout to remember the men, women, and children lost on September 11th. Now, when the game started back up, highlights now, that's a Wasco fumble, and Marley Garnett taking it all the way to the house, putting 6 on the board plus the extra kick. Extra point, 7-0 Stars. 2 minutes left in the first. Wasco responds. Cesar Prieto runs it in, and the kick is good as well, so it's 7-all. Marley Garnett helping to put 7 more up on the board for North at the start of the second quarter with a short touchdown run. North would lead 14-7. Then we got some Stars defense here. Andrew Marquez with the big interception. North led 17-7 at the half, but the Tigers come clawing back in the second, and Wasco comes back to win 21-17. The Tigers are at McLean next week, and North is at Delano. And we couldn't make it out to Mission Oak, but Bakersfield Christian pulls off another big win, 41-16. BCHS hosts Tehachapi next week. And Taft on the road at Porterville, and the Wildcats pull off another come-from-behind victory, 31-24. The final, they will host Exeter next week.
You're watching Friday Football Extra! Woo!
Welcome back. High school fantasy football leagues don't exist except for right here on Friday Football Extras.
Love it.
So in keeping with the FFX tradition, Tabitha and I are ready to reveal who we'd pick on our fantasy teams if it were a real thing.
And we're pretending like it is a real thing. In my heart, it's a real thing. But for the sake of time, we've only selected 1 player for each position: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and kicker, plus 1 defense and special teams pick. And we have 1 offensive flex position.
So I'm going to go ahead and go first. Okay, here's who I draft to my fantasy team. Garces quarterback Connor Bruce, BHS running back Trayvon Jackson, Ridgeview wideout Jamar Moya, BCHS tight end Christian McGill, and I've got my boy Carson Olivas as my kicker, Chavez for my defense and special teams, and Titans quarterback Deion Perkins in my flex. So I would have picked Connor Bruce as my quarterback even if Jim Scott didn't suggest
No
it.
pressure.
No pressure. He's only the biggest Garces fan ever. Now, Garces and Bruce, they're killing it this season. He can spin it, and he's got wheels. He's a track star. So in gathering stats from Max Preps in the Bakersfield Californian, Bruce has nearly 800 total yards of offense in 3 games. He accounted for 3 of Garces' touchdowns this week, 2 rushing and 1 passing against Tehachapi. No doubt he'd be racking up the points week in and week out. And my running back, Trayvon Jackson. This kid is a beast. I got my first look at him at Ventura College when he rushed for 127 yards and 2 touchdowns on 7 carries at that Brothers in Arms Classic. He slowed down a bit in week 2 against Bear Creek out of Colorado, but still added 2 more TDs. And once he finds a hole, he gone. So I got to go with Trayvon Jackson for my fantasy running back. There he goes. Even though I missed 7 quarters, or even though he missed 7 quarters of playing the first 2 weeks, I have to go with Jamar Moya as my wideout. The senior can do it all. He's got hands, he can run, he's got agility, he's been called on to quarterback, so he would probably go first overall in any real high school fantasy football draft. And according to the Californian, Moya had 402 combined yards, 5 touchdowns for Ridgeview in his return. Yeah, you could say that. And Moya would probably be guaranteed a fantasy win each week. Now, I'm going with Chavez for my defense and special teams. Wouldn't be the first time the Titans hang their hat on their stingy D, and we saw last week with Vincent Jacobo. We never really got to see this in its entirety, but kickoff returns are nothing to the Chavez Titans. Chavez did give up 36 points to Golden Valley, but held South to 6 in week 1 and shut out West on Friday, so I have to go with my guy, Carson Olivas, as my kicker. We have a secret handshake and everything. I mean, so
he's your boy.
He's my boy. I gotta go with that, and he's gotta stay healthy. Don't break any more bones, Carson.
Yeah.